Welcome to another part of unbalanced growth theory. Let's divide this video into two. In the first part of the video, we will be talking about the merits and demerits of unbalanced growth theory, and in the final part, second part of this video, we will be talking about the differences between unbalanced growth theory and balanced growth theory. Welcome. And let's now look at the merits or advantages of the unbalanced growth theory. As you all know, balanced growth theory will be unaffordable for the low income economy. So this unbalanced growth theory will be viable, affordable for the underdeveloped countries or low income economies which are suffering from the shortage of capital. They don't have enough capital, so they can depend on unbalanced growth theory. And so this is suitable for the development of the low income economies which are in the vicious circle of poverty. So this could help the low income economies to break the vicious circle and overcome the vicious circle of poverty. This is, as I said, this is affordable. This is said to be more economic, and this is affordable for the low income economies as the balanced growth is possible through unbalanced growth strategy. As per the theory, investment in social overhead capital or investment in public infrastructure could lead to the investment in other sectors of the economy. So to speak, investment in public infrastructure could lead to investment in direct production activities or income earning activities. So finally, the economic growth could be materialized through unbalancing in the economy. So balanced growth could be possible through unbalancing in unbalanced growth strategy. So these are the merits of the theory briefly. And now we have demerits of the unbalanced growth theory. The theory states that investment in social overhead capital could lead to subsequent investment in direct production activities or income and earning activities, but there is no surety for that. We could expect the subsequent investment in direct production activities or in income earning activities, but there is no surety for that. And the way for the balanced growth as per the unbalanced growth theory is unbalanced sectoral growth. So certain sectors will be focused, certain priority sectors only will be focused. So government will not focus on all sectors of the economy. Government here focus on priority sectors only. So some sectors remain unnoticed, undeveloped, and some sectors only will be developed. And this will create some unbalancing in the unbalanced sectoral growth in the economy, and it could also lead to unbalanced regional development, as certain sectors may focus may be concentrated in certain regions of the economy. So certain regions remain unnoticed and undeveloped, and there could also be a chance for inflation, as the investment may not lead to the increase in the direct production activity. So there could be an increase in inflation. So these are the demerits of the unbalanced growth theory. So let's straight away move into the differences between balanced growth theory and unbalanced growth theory. So as I said, these are the two strategies for the development of the underdeveloped economy. So these two are different strategies for the development of the low income economies which are suffering from the vicious circle of poverty. So they want to break the vicious circle. For that, two approaches are suggested by different economists. So balanced growth strategy refers to the equal investment in many sectors of the economy at a time, at a single period of time, same time. The investment could happen in all or many sectors of the economy at the same time. As per the unbalanced growth theory, investment should happen only in priority sectors, so that investment could lead to the subsequent investment in direct production activity. So government should focus only on priority sectors, that means social overhead capital or public infrastructure. And for balanced growth theory, balanced growth development strategy, huge amount of money capital is required for making equal investment in many sectors of the economy at the same time. As per the unbalanced growth theory, relatively less amount is required, as investment should be made only in priority sectors. So when investment in priority sectors will be done by the government, the following all the income earning sectors of the economy will be automatically flourished, as more investment will come after the investment in social overhead capital. So for balanced growth strategy, it refers to the development in every sector of the economy, as equal investment is making in all or many sectors of the economy. That means every sector will be developed. At the same time, as per the unbalanced growth theory, not all sectors will be developed together. Initial development will be made in selected sectors of the economy. So selected sectors will be developed. It will be followed in fact by the development of other economic sectors. At the same time, as balanced growth strategy is a short-term approach. At the same time, unbalanced growth theory is relatively long-term long-term approach, as the investment in social overhead capital could gradually lead to the investment in direct production activities. And as I said already in the video, balanced growth theory is costly, or it is uneconomic for the low income economies, which are already suffering from vicious circle of poverty. They don't have the capital enough, so this could be uneconomic or expensive for the low income economies. At the same time, unbalanced growth strategy could be viable, it could be cheaper, it could be affordable for the low income economies, which are already suffering from the shortage of capital and resources. So having said that, these two theories are the theories suggesting the strategies for the development of low income economies. These two are different approaches, but the aim of both strategies are same, that is the development of the poor economies or low income economies, which are suffering from the vicious circle of poverty. Thank you.